Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Black Ops 2 Character Analysis. And today we're going to be moving on to zombies. So we're pretty much going to be doing all the Black Ops 2 zombies characters. So there's 4 of those. And then that's pretty much what we're going to, after we do the 4 zombies characters, it's pretty much what we're going to wrap up Black Ops 2. Not Call of Duty as a whole, because I do have some other Call of Duty games I want to do character analysis for. But pretty much the only ones the main ones I want to do are Black Ops 1 and 2, which we've done already. So we're probably going to move on to our next game after these 4. And I'm not necessarily sure what game, but we'll get to that when we cross that bridge when we get to it. But until then, today we are going to be kicking off our 4 Black Ops 2 Zombies characters. And today it's going to be Misty. Her real name is Abigail Misty Briarton. I think that's how you say it. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the entire game, just because she has some funny lines in there and all that. So she's a pretty good character in the Black Ops 2 storyline. Of course, I'm going to be sticking to Black Ops 2. I know she shows up in a few other Black Ops, like the comics, and then Black Ops 4, and just a few other things. But of course, we're just going to be keeping the Black Ops 2 storyline strictly, because that's where she appears in the most. So we're just going to get started here, getting this from the COD Wiki. This site has helped me so much sourcing my info. I can't thank them enough. I say it every video. So I'm going to actually quote, it's actually a really funny quote here, but I'm actually going to quote something right off the bat. So, if you really need a reason why we do this, I'll give you one. We do this because doing something, anything, is better than doing nothing. And that was her quote. That was a pretty good quote there. And now we're going to be getting into her background. So not much is known about Misty's past other than that she used to live on a farm. She used to work at a bar called the Boathouse and had several boyfriends, all of whom she dumped. Her mother died of an unknown cause while her father was killed by zombies. At some point she met Briarton Johnson, who she began to develop a crush on. The two fought against zombies in the town of Hanford until they were picked up by Russman and Samuel J. Stuhlinger. On a bus, the 4 survivors were then contacted by Dr. Ludwig Maxis and were instructed to activate the pylon as part of his plan to deal with Edward Richtofen's forces of the undead. However, Stuhlinger starts hearing Richtofen's voice in his head, telling him to activate the tower with his own methods for unknown purposes. After the device was activated, the group was teleported by Richtofen to a skyscraper in Shanghai, China. After witnessing Russman being killed by a jumping jack, Misty, Marlton, and Stuhlinger continued to defend themselves until they were killed as well. However, Richtofen would then rewind the events so that the group could carry out his tasks. Here, Maxis and Richtofen continued to give the 4 survivors instructions to activate another tower. After the task was done, the group traveled on foot towards Africa. They set up the camp in the desert, planning what to do next. The day after, the survivors proceeded to the Rift and ended up in an underground western town. Here, Maxis and Richtofen continued to give the survivors instructions to activate the 3rd tower and warn them of the group's other plans. In the end, their allegiance shapes what happens to them next. So, there's a section here in the article. It's canon and the non-canon event. I'm going to talk about the canon event because I already know what happens in the non-canon event, and it's just not necessarily necessary for me to talk about in this particular video, because I'm talking about strictly what happens in the story and what's important to the story and what actually happens. So this is the canon event. So if the player decides to follow Max's side of all 3 Easter eggs, Max will assume control of the zombies, giving them orange eyes in the process. And it's also just like, by the way, it's what the choice is, like the canon and the non-canon event. And will send Richtofen's soul to a single zombie, which will have blue eyes. However, Maxis then reveals his true intentions of destroying Earth to reach Argothia, and informs the survivors that they will perish along the way. Misty, along with the others, is left to die while the Earth is being destroyed. This is the canonical ending for the map. So since Misty dies, in this particular, which is a canon event, so she actually does die, unfortunately, if you choose to do the storyline Easter egg. So since she chooses to die, the non-canon event really doesn't matter, because the other non-canon event, she would just pretty much stay alive. That's the only difference. And also Richtofen is in control. So at some point, Misty and the others were transported to the surface to take refuge in an unknown city. While scavenging for supplies, the crew runs into swarms of zombies being led by the undead Richtofen, whose identity is unknown to the group. To Misty's surprise, Richtofen somehow manages to dodge her shots. Stuhlinger, who continues to hear Primus Richtofen's voice instructing him, says it was the next step for the evolution of the undead. The crew attempt to hold out but are eventually surrounded. Stuhlinger calls out to Richthofen for help and is greeted with the portal, though through the group enters and escapes. They arrive at Broken Arrow Research Facility in 1996, where Russman begins to have flashbacks of his past involvement. Undead Richthofen travels through the portal with the zombie horde and chases them down. As the group attempts to restore power, Russman remembers the biological experiments that remain within the area, which then appear and surround them. Misty is nearly killed by Russman as he goes on a wild killing spree, his memory flashing in and out. One of the results of the experiment nearly kills her when Russman regains his sense and saves her. The group then retrieves the Element 115 shard and enters a new portal summoned by Primus Richthofen. Richthofen secures the Victus crew and cryptopods inside his lab under Alcatraz for use later when he needs them. Sometime later, Victus is awakened by Ultimus Richthofen, who informs him of Dr. Monty, and then sends him to his old lab in Siberia. Richthofen then proceeds to instruct the crew to build an Argathian device, as they fight off a horde of the undead after gathering the Argathian device and sending it to Primus Nikolai. Misty, along with the rest of the Victus, were subsequently abandoned by Ultimus Richthofen and Primus Nikolai, who left them to die in the dark ether. So that's pretty much the story of not only Misty but the whole crew, but of course the whole crew has different stories. And that's pretty much the story. It was a very short article. It wasn't as long as some of the other ones. So that's pretty much Misty's story. Now, I do have a little bit of an announcement that I just kind of thought of. So I might extend the Black Ops 2 character analysis to the Mob of the Dead characters. Those are the only other set of characters in Black Ops 2, and Mob of the Dead is DLC. So it's the only other set of characters. So I might do all the Mob of the Dead characters. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I have done that in the past. I have extended, character analysis, which is also very free to do. I mean, if I feel that I want to extend the character analysis to other characters in the game, I will do that generally if, there's room for that. So I might, at the end of these 4, I might do like a bonus 4 characters, just for the Mob of the Dead characters, because they are some very interesting characters, and I think it would be a nice treat to get character analysis for that, but we'll see how it plays out. Not saying I'm going to do it, but I'm probably going to end up doing it. Probably going to end up doing it anyway, but let me know what you guys want. I mean, would you guys want that? It's really kind of up to you guys if you want Mob of the Dead characters at the end of these 4, so... But let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about that. So, also let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about Misty as a Black Ops 2 character. She's personally one of my favorite characters out of the immediate 4, and just because she makes some funny jokes and stuff like that while you play. That's pretty much it, so make sure to subscribe for more content, like video, all good stuff, Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.